I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Good morning and welcome to a very early Sunday morning here at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown, curling stadium production in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. My name's Jim Nix and I'm joined by Sam Steep on the mic this morning, as well as Connor Sims handling our production. So in other words, what you get to see is thanks to Connor and obviously Jerry. Looking forward to a good one this morning. We've got an A qualifier matchup between John Epping and Mike McEwen. Both teams at 2-0. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it should be a great game. Both teams are playing really well this season. John Epping started pretty low in the points for the year and have won a couple of big events to get himself in the top 15 in the world.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I see them at number 11 right now for the year, and it's deservedly so. They've certainly lit it up here early in the season with a brand new team. It usually takes a little longer to get going, but these guys have got it figured out early.
Yeah, luckily 3 of them played together for the last couple of years with Tanner Jakin.
Yeah, I suppose so. I only knew was the skip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, John skipped for a long time.
Yeah, that's true enough. I don't really remember. I don't know. I'm trying to think if I remember him playing anywhere other than the skip position, but I'm not sure I do. But he may have him over the years, I'm sure. But
I'm sure people in the chat can let us know.
Yeah. So pretty open end so far, but we're only basically 4 or 5 shots in. Not uncommon for the first end on games to take a little while before teams are ready to kind of jump and go. Won't be long though, I'm sure. McEwen with hammer here in the first end by virtue of a draw to the button. Both teams at 2-0 in this event.
Yeah, Mike's team also coming off of a Brier final where Mike was arguably the best curler at the Brier last year and probably looking to get onto that first step this season, especially with all the team changes. They're one of the few teams that stayed together.
Yeah. These two skips sort of at least are sort of have a similar path over the last few years. McEwen a few years back was winning everything. He'd win slam after slam, event after event, and then kind of just went away from that a little while and didn't play as much, didn't see him out a lot, and maybe not a ton of success. And John sort of similar, maybe slightly different level, but not very much. And now both are back, and as you said, they're 2 of the best teams in the country right now. Or in the world, in fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sometimes you just have to search for that right combination. Sometimes you find it early in your career and you get successful like Mike and John did.
Yeah.
And then you try a new lineup, it doesn't click, and then all of a sudden your confidence is gone, and it's a real grind to get back up to the top level.
Yeah, another example is somebody like Kevin Cooey that is never misses. He's didn't miss his first slam probably ever recently, and is struggling to be in contention to get into slams in the future here right now. Trying a few different lineups, and just nothing has really translated into real success yet.
Yeah, that team has has a lot of good players on it, obviously, and they just haven't found that the best combination for it yet.
So John Epping playing with the Horgan brothers, Jake at third, Tanner at second, and Ian McMillan at lead stone. And we are now at third stone, so this will be Jake Horgan throwing an out turn come around here. But to roll out, a little chance to kind of make something happen for Epping. Team is registered out of Toronto.
Yeah, registered out of Toronto, but playing Northern Ontario playdowns. They have the birthrights there. The three of them do, and John Epping obviously will be there. They're one allowed out of province player.
Yeah. And only in Ontario could you live in Ontario and be an out of province player.
Yeah. I mean, the fact is, three of them live in Toronto. Tanner, Jake, and Don. So it is quite funny, but kind of like the Holman team a couple years ago when three of them lived in Alberta.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah. That's a polite way of saying it. Some people would felt differently, but that's okay.
I mean, the fact of the matter is we're Canada's fallen behind a little bit in the world level, and our rules did need to change, and sometimes some people don't love it, but
yeah. So Colton Flash with a miss here. Made contact with the guard, but not very much, obviously. Barely moved.
Barely touched it. I've seen that all day yesterday and Friday. In between the 4-foot lines and near the center line, those board waiters, hack waiters, they can really curl on you.
Yeah. Yeah, ice has been great. We had an event here last weekend. Ice was great last weekend too, but slightly different in that this week there's a little bit harder finish, and they've probably done a little work on rocks this week to create that, and it's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, I have noticed it straighten up just a little bit throughout the last couple of draws, but still, some awesome finish. It really is Grand Slam-esque ice, and I'm sure the top teams in the world appreciate that.
A little tap, not quite the right line, but perfect weight. Just overcurled a little bit. Bump the object stone out into the open. So Flash with a little chance here to make a hit and roll and maybe set up the potential 2 for McEwen.
Yeah, that just overcurled on Jake. It does basically mean this end is not going to be a blank.
Yes, that's probably for sure now. I never know. I always hesitate to say that with these things, but I think you're right on that one. Try to carve this over. And he ends up nose hitting as well. So John Epping carries a resume with him as being one of the best shot makers in the business for a long time now.
Yep. As we said, the last 4 or 5 years, he's been searching for the right combination. Obviously, he has had some successful lineups. They've had successful events, but the consistency lacked the last 4 or 5 lineups that he had. And so this year, probably a little bit refreshing. they've been good pretty much all year. They started a little slow, didn't qualify in their first 2 events, but once they started clicking, here they are, top 11 in the world.
Yeah, it's a nice shot there. Rolled a little too far, but yeah, it's funny how that happens. It's just almost like a switch goes off sort of thing. It's like the teams that are just – I did a women's game yesterday, and the teams playing, one of them had not qualified, played like 4 events or something this year, not qualified into any of them. And then last week or 2 weeks ago, they won an Alberta Curling Series event. Maybe not, a stellar field, but doesn't matter. It's good enough field that if you win it, you have to play very, very well. So, yeah, it was just looked funny to see DNQ, and then champ. It was like, okay,
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you go from there to there? But anyway.
Yeah, curling is it's a funny sport sometimes. It's there's an Ontario team that won an event in September, didn't qualify for 3 or 4 events in a row, and then all of a sudden was in the final just a couple weeks ago. So it's just like usually happens a decent amount of times in the tier 3 level, kind of like the teams ranked in between 30th and 90th.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen quite as much on the top level.
But no, you don't get to the top level if you're only good in 1 out of every 3 events.
Yeah.
So everybody looking for the roll here. Nobody's quite figured it out yet. This would be a good time for Epping to make it, though. Force McEwen into a draw for 1. Going to force him into 1 regardless.
Mission accomplished for John. Yeah. Mission accomplished for John Epping. This end, open hit to force him. Just wants to put a little bit more pressure and make him draw in the first end.
Yeah. I mentioned this A qualifier game. There are 20 teams started in this triple knockout event, and by the end of the day, it'll only be 8 remaining. So it's a big cut day today.
Yeah, obviously a super exciting day. There's the women's playoffs starting and ending today as well. So that will be fun.
Yeah, for sure. It's not going to quite get the roll. Yeah, and one of the, certainly one of the fan favorites and one of the top teams here won't be in the playoffs in the ladies' side there. Carrie Anderson losing last night, I believe, to Caitlin Laws and eliminated from play.
Yeah, first event, Shannon was back and took the last game that they played off. I wasn't sure if they planned that the whole time, or obviously haven't talked to her physio or anything, but didn't get the inside scoop. But they played with 3, and I commentated over that game. It was a lot of misses where adding that 1 more sweeper would have they probably would have made a lot more shots. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles, just like I said before.
It would certainly sound like it was something that they didn't want to overplay her, if you will, hoping to maybe make the playoffs and have her available for the playoffs. But good shot from Mike McEwen here, and he'll pick up his 1 point here in the first end. As you say, certainly success for John Epping. That would have been his hope for this end, and he will trail Mike McEwen 1-0 as we go to end number 2.
So with the impact to my business and income, will this delay my retirement?
I know you're worried, Marshall, but based on the original plan we came up with, you're only about 6 months behind.
I thought it would be years, not months.
You should feel good. Remember, you've got a plan.
Thanks.
With change comes questions. See the impact of your money decisions before you make them with RBC Wealth Plan.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Stronger agronomics, better returns, greater peace of mind from pre-seed to post-harvest. You can count on the Victory Canola program to keep you
Good morning. Welcome back to end number 2 here at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown A qualifying game with John Epping and Mike McEwen. Epping forcing McEwen to 1 in the first, and Epping now with hammer in the second. Just a pretty average kind of first end, I think. Sam,
Yeah,
they trying to make a roll and they couldn't.
Took one miss from Flash wicking off that guard, kind of basically secured them getting forced unless they made a perfect hit and roll, which just didn't quite end up happening.
So McEwen going to try to run his own yellow back. For anybody that's wondering, you are allowed to do that if it's your own stone.
Yep. Yeah, that John Epping rock a little bit higher than they would want to play a freeze, and deciding they didn't want to draw all the way around. And if you make it pretty much perfect, why not throw it every time?
Daniel Marsh, one of the 2 identical twin brothers playing in this team. I think they played together their entire lives. I don't know if they ever didn't play together, but they, as commentators, we always try to figure out how to identify them every single week. I haven't figured it out yet. Yesterday we were going by what color stopwatch somebody had. They used to wear different colored gloves. That helped, but not so much now. And I'm sure perhaps if you're really close up to them, they don't necessarily look exactly the same, but they appear to be on screen.
Yeah, Mike, when they're sweeping together, I think Mike just yells curler straight. I don't think he yells names because he probably would mix them up.
Yeah. Daniel. No, the other Daniel. Yeah. Very nice draw there.
Yeah, I mean, if we're nitpicking, it's about a foot deep, obviously. And once Mike makes his freeze, your scoring area shrinks quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, it's only 17 minutes after 8 in the morning out there, so we'll give him a couple of hands to get better.
Coffee hasn't gotten to the veins yet.
Exactly. Yeah, it barely got to me, and I'm only just sitting in a chair. And it's 10 o'clock where I am, not 8 o'clock, so.
Good lucky you.
Yeah. Guys working hard on this one. Trying to get it over, trying to sit on the red.
I mean, one of the reasons these 2 teams are in the top 15 is their sweeping. The sweeping has obviously changed the sport quite a bit the last couple of years. But it makes a lot of shots still, even with all the rules.
Yeah, gone are the days when you had to sweep at 90-degree angle to the line of the rock and all that kind of stuff. That's
Yeah.
Used to be a lot of complaints about that at the local level. Like, oh, he's not sweeping properly. It's like, yeah, well, he wasn't. And legit, they weren't. They were sweeping with what the rules were supposed to be then. They didn't always adhere to them either. But let's be Tanner Horgan now. Tanner, the older of the 2 brothers, and I believe was a skip himself for a number of years.
Skipped for a long time, went down to Vice a couple of times for a couple of different skips. But this year, his first year playing second competitively, and has really dialed into that role. I've played against Tanner all the way back to elementary school playdowns, and he's always known how to throw the high hard one, which as a second, you tend to throw that more often than not.
Yeah,
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I said, though the 5-rock rule has changed the second position to a lot like a vice.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, back in the day when you used to pick a second stone, that was your only criteria. Could he hit well and could he throw peels? And it's like nothing else really mattered. It was like the lead. As long as they could draw, that's all that mattered. Didn't care if they could hit the broom or anything else. But that's not the same anymore. You need to have 4 players, everybody make all the shots. And certainly the second and the vice are very, quite often, are throwing similar type shots. It was a good shot there.
It's one of the main reasons why you see a team like Einerson and Holman be so successful is they brought in skips and vices down to second.
Yeah.
And just makes their kind of like people talk about how in hockey and in football, how much depth teams have.
Yeah.
And same in curling. Like,
yeah,
there's no secret.
Just catching the replay here. Great shot here.
Yeah, perfect slash by one of the Marshes.
Yeah, that's the way I was yesterday. I think that's Kevin.
Kevin, yeah. Yeah, Tanner trying to get to the inside of that freeze as he makes a double peel and almost gets rid of all 3 yellows. Just like we were talking about, his hit weight is.
Yeah.
Obviously one of the best.
Yeah, look at it.
Yeah. It's a great line call. This was lined up, but you still have to make it perfect. He needed to hit it just a little bit thicker and all 3 yellows go, but rolls to a corner guard to perfection.
Yeah, end result pretty good. I think it's we're still relatively early in the end, halfway through, and now John does have a corner guard there if he gets a chance to use it. Play probably going to go away from there a bit, so it may not get to be used, but it's there, and everything else is gone, so it's no trouble at least at this point. Gold Flash just trying to throw a draw, basically somewhere around the top of the 8-foot. A little bit surprised they wouldn't maybe try to stay a little further away, but from the corner. But the corner also is, if you roll behind that corner, you're also not going to be shot rocket. Boy, you weren't. Now they're going to see a double attempt here.
Yeah, pretty natural double, about thick half of a rock, but we talked about Tanner's hitting ability. Jake's is obviously just as good. You know, they were practicing 20-foot run backs at 10 years old, so
wow.
They know how to throw.
They curl a little too much. They get it out. Not quite. It's one thing different here, I think, than some surfaces. That I think it's fair to say the circles are. It's just not quite as quick.
Yeah.
My striking bands maybe a little bit off or whatever, but they're just. Rocks don't rocket across here. Even trying to get the rolls. So many rolls we've seen this weekend where they just don't quite get the roll because they're short of the roll, not because they've gone past. So,
yeah, rocks play a big factor in that. The ice we've complimented it all week. It's been great, a lot like Grand Slam ice early in the event, but not a lot like Grand Slam rocks. Obviously, Grand Slam gets to play with some of the best rocks in the world, but yeah, very not much activity in them, even with the weight these guys can throw.
Yeah. So I think playing the double here. Looking to get a blank at this point, I think. It's just, I thought he might just draw into those, to be honest. He makes a double and rolls out. McEwen might tuck around the corner just to force him. Coming up pretty good. Might hang on, but I don't think. So all the yellow's gone. Red's gone. Everything's gone pretty much, except for one lonely corner guard.
Yeah, decision for Mike. You know, in the second end, you don't hate a blank. You could just put this in the 8-foot and basically force a blank end. But when you have an opportunity to force a team, it is very tempting to do it.
Jake Horgan making the double. The Horgans have a pretty famous sister, too, in our sport.
Yeah, she's pretty good at curling.
Yeah.
Tracy Fleury.
Yeah. Former number 1 in the world as a skip.
Mm-hmm.
And now playing third with Holman, who are unquestionably the most successful curling team of the last 2 seasons for sure.
Yeah, a total of like 7 losses in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Something like that is obviously just incredible. Took that lineup about a year to get into it, but wow, have they not looked back the last 2 seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, when you consider they don't play any, club spiels sort of thing. They're playing the best in the world every week that they're playing, and to have 7 losses over 2 seasons, and I don't know how many games that is. That's a pretty incredible record.
Especially considering you're playing, against the best in the world in every event you play in.
Yeah.
Like this, they're not going to a random tier 2 or tier 3 event and going undefeated. Like they are playing tier and zone, playing, the best teams in the world every weekend that they curl.
So McEwen trying to tuck around the corner here. Looks like he might be a little deep, or maybe a lot deep. Coming down a little bit. Definitely not where he wanted to be, though.
Yeah, those draws to the wing, especially early in the first and second end, sometimes can surprise you how warmed up the path is. You expect it to be a little bit frostier, a little bit slower since it hasn't been thrown much, but with it being a little straighter curling towards the wings, it just runs a little bit faster.
Yeah, yesterday, a couple games that I had a couple situations where in the late couple women's games that they were playing the come around on the corner guards from the outside in, not corner guards that were quite as far over as this one, and they didn't really have any trouble. I thought they would struggle with finding the weight out there. Lots of times in clubs, that's areas that you're going to be heavier and nobody's going to make anything out there if you try to make a shot. But it was good. So Epping now will try to freeze down to that one. He could just go above it, stay above the tee line buried. That's the other side of it. But second end, I'm probably not going to take that risk of being forced. Got to get there, though.
With this line, it needs to be pretty much to it.
Well, they always say no bump, and that was a bump, but not very big. So, pretty good shot.
Yeah, no, a decision time from Mike, how you want to make the freeze. If you corner freeze, you're going to leave a nose hit for 2. So you need to be pretty much perfectly frozen on him.
Yeah, it's probably just ever so slightly off of nose, I imagine.
And it looks like he's going to I think he's going to up the weight a little bit. That seems like a pretty tight broom.
Trying to move the yellow out of the way.
Yeah, about back line and just tap it right on just a hair side off of nose. And you'll most likely get the force. Yeah,
that's Epping shot is one of those, if you freeze, he's going to come right down behind you and freeze. But if he's ever off just a little tiny bit, he may give you a chance at your 2. And flash on this one right away. Not going all out, but going solid here. Trying to get by. Well, they sneak her by. Yeah, they're by an inch or 2. Over curling a little. But just by virtue of tapping that versus sitting on it, now John won't be able to save his red one if he hits it at all.
Yeah, it's basically a force. You could throw a draw weight, back 8, T-line weight, tap, and I think that's what he's attempting. You just need to tap that yellow rock about 2 inches, which it looks like there's enough space between stones to do so.
Yeah, you're right. It's one that you if you can just almost just feather it a hair, you can probably get it out and stay. But got to be really careful. You don't want to throw so much weight that if in effort to try to do that, you slide by everything. Be a great shot if you can make it.
A lot of maybe less experienced skips would overthrow this.
Yeah.
As this is last rock here in the second. Chance for 2 for John. Needs to hit about less than a quarter of this rock.
Might be close. Wow, that is a great curling shot, isn't it? Looks like 2 reds. Amazing shot by John Epping. Very, very little room for error there. You'll see it again here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just great sweeping. They had the broom down right out of his hand. Perfect weight. He didn't overthrow it. He threw about T-line, and his sweepers basically swept it to back 8, back 12 weight, and just a perfect team shot.
Wow. Literally moved it about 4 inches. So Epping will take a 2-1 lead after 2 ends here at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. We'll be back right after the break.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Join us this March for the House of Hearts Charity Bonspiel in Duluth, Minnesota. Help raise funds for Project Joy, who provides meals for hungry kids in our community. Every donation helps to ensure no child goes hungry. Join us and make a difference. Together, we can spread joy.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
So we're back for end number 3 here in our qualifier game between McEwen and Epping. Epping with a great shot there in that lot. At the end of that end, they scored 2, Sam.
Yeah, it was a credible team shot. I bring it back to when I said a lot of skips, even at the top level, overthrow this rock. John deciding on the T-line weight shot and let your sweepers make it for you, and that's exactly what they did. Great execution.
Yeah, terrific shot. That's why they're here. That's why they started the year somewhere down around 30th in the world, and they're up to number 11 at this point. So, and working their way back into slams that they were not in for a while, or John wasn't in for a while at least. So, nice to see. McEwen playing the out turn come around here. A couple of guards up for Team Epping. Not exactly where they usually want them to be, but they're there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they. Sorry, I'm not sure if they called the draw on the. If John called a draw on his second guard, because that one guard is so high.
Yeah.
Even though they're only up 1, I like it.
Yeah. With that little look at the lead stone there, Daniel Marsh, you could tell in that close-up he was not necessarily thrilled with the result of that shot. the back of the 12-foot. Tanner Horgan now. Try to do that one better. Somewhere around those guards. Lots to work with right now for Epping. Try to keep this above the tee line. And buried, of course. Right about here, it starts to move.
Yeah, uncharacteristic misses by Team McEwen. Both one going through and the next one to the back 12. Team Epping might have seen that and decided to miss late.
Yeah. Yeah, not what they were looking for, but there's enough stuff out there now that McEwen's going to clean some up a little bit. But now that we're at the point that he can do that.
Well, when you have hammer, your enemy is staggered guards. So they Mike, realizing that, just deciding to get rid of it as soon as possible.
Looking very intent on this shot, Mike McEwen. The laser eyes going. Kevin Marsh now. Trying to clean things up a little bit for his brother. Might stay. Needed to get a little closer to the nose on that one.
That's going to happen a lot. They needed to get pretty close to that center guard to make it.
Yeah.
It does open up that center line, though. And there's a very high guard, as you can see on the right hand of your screen. You can't even see the center guard.
Yeah.
Hard to hide.
Yeah, you're right. I found that early in the week, at least, the corner guards were going up too. People were putting them up, and they were so high that they really didn't guard anything. Even though you probably couldn't see the rock you're trying to hit from the hack, you could actually go past it if you underthrew it a little bit. Tanner Horgan now with the intern hit on the yellow at the back of the 12-foot.
Got a chance to sit too early in this end. Though they'll be only in the 12-foot. No real danger from Team McEwen yet to give up steal.
That was a very delicate takeout. It was just not even maybe quite hack weight.
Yeah, it barely eliminated the stone.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm sure he wasn't throwing it. He had a lot of ice. He wasn't planning on throwing it very hard, but might have been a little softer than he was thinking. McEwen now going to play the short run back on the yellow here. If he can make this good, he will have one in the house and with a guard on it, albeit short, but with hammer, it would be a decent setup. Kevin Marsh with his second here in the third end.
Yeah, Mike is obviously trying to score his two, but he's perfectly fine with a blank end here and trying to get back onto even ends.
So it's a good shot.
Yeah, no mistake.
Yeah. Epping will probably make a play on this.
Yeah, pretty short run. You make it perfect. You can roll into it as a center guard as well.
Yeah.
Short run back for Jake Horgan. Standing in front of the camera, so we'll never see where the rock ends. But he makes it. And like I said, Mike is perfectly fine with a blank hitting that rock in the back 12.
Yeah, with just 4 to come, only 3 for the Epping team. Figures you can run this out now and not get forced anywhere. Important to stay on this shot, though. So even though the guard is high, if Epping goes around, it might not be quite as easy to remove and roll out both. Marsh brothers on this one. Need it to curl just a hair more. And it should be fine. It is.
Yeah, a little bit of rinse repeat here. Both teams going to be just trading hits until Mike has a blank attempt. Obviously, John eventually will try and get behind that center guard, make the blank attempt as hard as possible.
And Jake Horgan with the hit and stick. This one's got to come up a little more too. Cold flash, no problem. Looking more and more like a blank end here. Epping could hit this on the nose and get McEwen to hit it on the nose. He might go a little harder to make that roll and make that blank just a little bit tougher.
Yeah, roll perfectly buried back 8 foot. Mike will be able to throw a hack waiter and try to hit and roll away.
Yeah. John Epping just with a soft hit here. We'll hang around, roll a little bit outside. Not. So it's looking like blank should be a problem for McEwen because John's going to have a hard time rolling all the way over behind that guard. And if he does, it'd be pretty deep.
Yeah, pretty much makes the blank inevitable. Kind of a defensive indifference in other sports. If both teams don't hate a blank, John's team obviously being up 1. They would have liked to keep the scoreboard on even ends, but blank is certainly better than giving up 2 or 3. And Mike happy to get back on the even end of the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Obviously, the last 3 shots need to be made, but he needs to stick around.
He might roll out here. And he hangs around.
A little bit of panic at the end.
Yeah, it's one of those where, like you say, the rocks being just a little less lively, he was able to hang around even with only 2/3 of the stone or so.
John taking much less ice than Mike McEwen just did. He's wondering what weight he's deciding to throw.
He'll keep it pretty solid out here.
Yeah. There is a world where you could roll pretty flat to the back 12 behind the center line, and that's maybe what they're trying. But stays dead straight.
It's sort of like, well, let's try, but not really kind of show.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's like, if it happens, that's great.
Yeah. Let's try. If we get it wrong, we'll roll right behind the guard. Something perfect. If you're wondering at all what the other A qualifier is, there's 2 qualifiers that have A. The other game is going to be Clyder and Dunstone, but they don't start till after this one's over. So you'll be able to watch that one as well, should you choose.
Yeah, our other games on the ice, we have a B semifinal game and Kevin Kuia versus Dustin
Kleider? No. Kaltoff.
Kaltoff.
Yeah.
We have Brent Pierce versus Reed Carruthers in a B semi, and we have Brad Jacobs versus Corey Dropkin in a B semi. Corey up 1-0. Reed Carruthers up 3-2 over Brent Pierce, and Kevin and Dustin tied 2-2.
So we are going to end number 4 with Epping still leading Mike McEwen 2-1 here in Swift Current, Saskatchewan.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Saskatchewan, you know Sasktel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. With Sasktel sponsorships, we get to be part of your community. We're here with you, and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. Sasktel cares. Always has, always will. To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
So we're back for end number 4. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. Both teams have been pretty conservative so far. So here in the 4th end, McEwen blanking in the 3rd. I would expect to be going a little harder in this end to try to get a deuce.
Yeah, I think both teams will have some rocks in play here. John almost playing this end to steal. Even though they're up 1, it's their main goal is going to shrink that scoring area. And obviously Mike trying to score 2 on even ends.
For sure. John Epping up with 1 guard up. Going to come around that one. Don't know if he's going to bury here. He's going to have to go hard. Tanner Horgan saving all that skipping talent for skipping for all those years. Sweeping talent, rather. Had to use some there. Got it in about half buried or 3rd buried. McEwen now is going to go around the corner.
Yeah, with the hitting ability, of both teams, not really worried about the 2 center rocks right now. If you're Mike McEwen, you're just trying to set up your second point, get this buried behind the corner guard.
This one looks pretty good. They really go to the outside when you can get them going. Once they start, if you can get them at the right time, you can really move them in there well. Shot. A little deep, but Epping looking for just backline weight so far, if that's the shot he ends up calling here.
It is edge on edge. meaning it's pretty much perfectly buried, but because it's back 8 and that is a 2-zone guard, you can chase it with about hack weight.
Yeah.
Obviously not much margin for error.
Yeah.
Yesterday I've seen this rock thrown too heavy, and even if you get called hack and you accidentally throw board, it runs so much straighter inside out, and so really weight sensitive.
So Tanner Horgan sweeping hard to hold this straight to get a bye. Not sure if he's going to make it or not. Looks close. He just squeaks it by. And it's a great shot. It's amazing how just an eighth of an inch or so can make a difference between a bad shot and a great shot. You'll see it again.
Yeah, just great sweeping right out of his hand, holding it straight. And just gets by the guard by 1.5 centimeters. Perfect weight.
Yeah. The other thing that most of us don't think too much about with these teams is how well they read the ice. It's just, now it helps when everybody's throwing exactly what you ask and all that kind of stuff. For those of us that play mostly in club curling nowadays, it's a certainly very different situation. But regardless, they just read the ice so well, and they know where they can hold things and carve things and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot to it, a lot more to it than most people probably think that don't watch the game all the time. Mike likes doing that with his broom. And yesterday I was trying to do a game with his, and I kept thinking I knew what he was going to play because he had the broom going like a sword sort of thing. Whatever. But anyway, it's just a personality trait of his. That's what he does.
Yeah, I do the same thing. My teammates are on the other end, and I've tapped all the rocks in play. I'm not 100% sure what they want, what I want. So
yeah. It's where the mic on a player or something would be a help, but down the road. The Mike McEwen now going to play the intern come around freeze attempt for Kevin Marsh. Kevin also holds the broom for McEwen, if you haven't noticed that. They don't want to lose Colton Flash sweeping it.
No, Colton being one of the best sweepers in the world, you want him to sweep as many rocks as possible. I'm sure they would want him to get up and sweep his own if he could.
Yeah. Very nicely done. Epping now will ask. Second stone. Tanner Horgan to play the same shot, just trying to get a little bit to the inside of it.
Yeah, we talk about both teams' hitting ability. It's really important to set up the angles properly. Tanner wanting to pretty much fully bury this, but don't want to line it up with the Mike McEwen stone.
Yeah, it's going to have to finish hard here. He's probably a little tiny bit heavy. Maybe it's, maybe not. Looked like it was maybe a little bit heavy on that shot, but perfect. Very nice.
Yeah, no mistake.
McEwen's now going to peel the. Looks like he's going to play the peel on the guard.
Strategy-wise, both skips understand when they're one shot in trouble very quickly. They know their problem rock always. And when Mike was playing in Ontario, obviously got to play beside him. I didn't get to play against him, but watching him call a game, just strategy-wise, he's very smart.
Kevin Marsh looking to peel, but they're also looking to pick the red one off the back, possibly. Or at least at one point, that's what McEwen was looking at. Ooh, close.
Found a pretty difficult hole.
Yeah, and I'm not 100% sure. Oh, sorry. I'm not 100% sure if they were trying to get the back one or make contact with the one behind, but I don't think they were trying to make contact with the rocks in behind. Left the guard partly, so that's not good.
Yeah, a little bit of a missed tolerance there. Probably the first one of the game, really. It's the main goal there was to peel the center,
Yeah.
and maybe make the run back and roll to a corner is just the perfect option, obviously.
Yeah.
But to unlucky enough to get right through the hole of the run back and leave the center guard. Flash is going to need to get some rocks moving after this guard is settled in.
Yeah. Jay Corgan.
Willing this rock to curl. Does so just enough to where that I don't think there's a run back. You probably can make it with a lighter weight run back.
Yeah. That last shot was probably the least amount of sweeping you're ever going to see on a shot. They swept for a total of about 3 feet, but it was an important 3 feet at the tail end here. Flash looking to run this yellow one.
Yeah, trying to make some noise in the middle, change the angles up.
Throwing it down, wait a little bit. Will he get by that guard? Not sure. No, just feathers the guard again.
Yeah, that wasn't an easy shot, but definitely had an opportunity to change the angles in the middle and just over curled by a half an inch.
Epping will look to put another guard back up there. Probably overlap that yellow just a little bit more than they did. Force McEwen to maybe play the peel again with only a couple more rocks left to go in the end.
Yeah, you basically want to split center, maybe just a little bit more over onto the yellow.
Yeah.
Your main goal is to guard that red in the top 8 foot.
This ends up. Should be pretty good once Jake moves out of the way.
Over curled slightly, but still pretty good. Like the max weight McEwen could throw on the double tap would be backline to hack, and they wouldn't be shot rock most likely.
Yeah.
So double run, just off nose, should make 3 or 4 rocks move if you hit it perfectly.
Flash, no trouble throwing this weight for Colton. And the line looks pretty good. Will he get that? He's not going to get there. It might take his other red one out, and he does. He moves lots of rocks, not all of the ones he was hoping to move, but opened it up pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, the main goal of that shot was to move the rocks on the center line. Didn't quite got 2 of the 5 on the center line, which is a pretty good outcome. Just needed to hit it a little bit thicker. Would have been nice if that yellow stuffed into the back 8 foot if you're a Team McEwen fan, because then you're sitting 2nd, 4th. But now no decision for John, center guard. They are talking about it, though.
Yeah, just trying to figure out exactly where it should end up, what exactly they're trying to guard, and what can work out the best for Mike. And Got it figured out pretty good now. You're talking about probably about 2 inches difference in the two shots that he's looking at here, but it's that precise sometimes at this level.
Yeah, and I mean, both teams aren't slow, but they aren't on clocks either. They can. These are the events that you're learning as much as possible before the big events at the end of the year, and yeah, just trying to find the perfect spot, and the perfect spot would be just biting center line.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw Tanner come down to be part of that conversation, probably more to talk about where exactly the rock was going to end up than what the shot call was. The call's fairly obvious for these guys, but could have some discussion about where you wanted it to be. And they're all on the same page now. They got to figure it out. So Epping throwing a center, more or less center guard, just like as Sam said, just maybe bite that center line and fairly tight, just to make sure that McEwen can't go around it and make what he wants to make.
Didn't look like a ton of ice. I'm not sure. They obviously know better than I where to put the broom, but I have seen a ton of guards over curl. This one certainly isn't. They just need to sit for weight.
Needs to sit down. That's pretty much what he was looking for, I think. I don't think he's missed his mark much on that.
Yeah, like 3 feet heavy and an inch of overcurl maybe. That's about it, but
looking at possibly just sliding by and touching the yellow. Throw any weight you want at it, pretty much, as long as you make the red one get out of the way.
Yeah, Flash talking. He thinks you can hit the yellow and stick around for third shot. It looks very difficult to do that.
I don't see that happening. It's you can't roll very far, and if you're going to remove the red, you got to throw enough weight to move it. I think they'll end up playing this peel up here somewhere along the way, and maybe try to get almost everything moving. Really.
Yeah, this could end up being a blank end.
Yeah, I know that's a funny thing.
Mike can eliminate all 3 reds here. That is the only bad part of John Epping's shot, was just how deep it was, and Mike McEwen's hitting ability. You expect him to make some noise down the center line here.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say probably things will change. The look of this end will change here after this shot, and as you said, if enough rocks go flying, there is a possibility still of a blank end here. Probably come pretty close to getting all of these rocks out. Might be running a little straight. Not going to get it much other than the top one.
No, very much of a surprising miss by Mike.
Yeah, exactly. That one is one that you think you do, even though you got rid of the guard, you do classify that one as being a miss. That was a pretty short run back for these guys.
Now a definite advantage for Team Epping. Mike might not have a shot to score.
Yeah, the outer draw is perfect. Yeah. No. There's not really any yellow ones to drive in anywhere. I didn't see where he put the broom, but this rock just looks a little bit further out than the last one.
Yeah, broom's down for the sweepers this time.
Be a little higher. At least, that's pretty good.
Yeah, no choice but for Mike to make about a hack to board weight hit for one. Hit what you can see. Your yellow should stay in the 4-foot.
Yeah.
John not getting quite enough curl to block that shot.
Yeah, they seemed happy with that, but yeah, looking at it now, you do. I question whether or not another 2 inches of curl would have been better.
I think their main goal was to guard the yellow because obviously Mike wouldn't miss a half rock slash for one. But they were half an inch off of perfect, really.
Yeah.
Easier sitting in my chair than being on the ice, but
yeah,
definitely a makeable shot.
Not a lot of ice. Just going to throw a little bit of weight. Can't really go very far unless you throw a rocket down there. You're not probably going to do anything damage to your own. So McEwen with his last rock here in the fourth end, looking to find a way to score one. Well, he's not throwing real hard, so out here, Flash jumping on it early. Is he tight to that center line? No, maybe not. A little bit. Gets it by. And will he spin that one in? He won't, but great shot just the same from Mike McEwen. Not an easy shot by any stretch. He made it look a little bit easy, but he scores his 1 point, ties us up, and we have a tie game at the fourth end break. 2-2. We'll be back after this.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmirler Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies. In the past 4 years alone, $4 million has been granted thanks to the curling community's incredible generosity. The need continues year-round, and with your help, we can ensure every baby has the chance to grow up and become a champion, just like Sandra.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
So we're back here for the start of the fifth end. Jim Nix with Sam Steep on the call of this A qualifying game here at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown at the Swift Curling Club in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Not much has been settled here yet, Sam. We basically are where we started this game.
Yeah, 2-2. John Epping having hammer really has been the score says it's tied, but Team Epping has outplayed Mike McEwen in the first 4 ends of this game.
Yeah, fair to say. It's been a few small problems for the McEwen team, but somehow they've managed to work through it. That happens when your skip makes the last shot all the time.
Yeah.
It's good.
The good news for Mike McEwen fans is they have hammer on even ends right now. If they can get a force, they're still in a good spot to win the game.
Yeah, the only thing changed from the start of the game here was that we have only 4 ends to play, and the person with hammer now is Epping versus McEwen. So we'll see how he gets along with it. Trying to throw just a draw to the house here. Want to get it by the other one, and they will. They're back around the tee line or a little beyond to be good. Good shot.
Pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
It's a strategy with the 5 rock rule that we've seen quite a bit by teams with hammer, especially early on.
Yeah, it's a bit new, I think. It's I've seen that myself a little bit over the last couple of events, and it's just not something we saw much before that. It rarely would somebody just throw a draw to an open spot on the ice. Unless it was like later on when they're trying to split the house for 2 or something, but not so much on the early parts.
I seen a couple of years ago, I saw this strategy with an Asian team. I'm not sure if they were, but and they would play this strategy. The other team would nose the rock in the 8 foot, and then they would freeze the rock that they just that was just hit,
Okay.
and try and set up 3 points that way. Now for Team McEwen, they rolled behind the center guard, so obviously Epping won't be freezing. But
no.
Fun strategy, fun for us because that means there's rocks in play.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's looking for a different idea sometimes of how to score multiple points, and it's not always easy to do against these teams.
I think John Epping being one of the first skips to call the double center guard with hammer when the new tick rule came out.
Yeah.
And obviously a very aggressive play style, but you can score 2 or 3. You don't bring it out often. But
and that's with the new center line tick rule?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't even seen that myself yet. So
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I think they were calling a hack waiter, and it just came down to freeze.
Yeah, no, I think he was just Sam. I think he just kind of indicated just back line there. So it could be wrong, but that's what it looked like to me when John was just moving the brush there earlier in this conversation. Either way, he didn't move it very far.
A very interesting decision now for Team McEwen. Do you just freeze the back one and make a blank pretty much impossible? Or do you corner freeze and set up a stagger in the top 8? Both options are pretty good.
All right, everyone, we will be with you here on the Curling Stadium Network all day long, and tomorrow as well, but certainly all day today with the women's playdowns and the men's event getting down to the playdowns, and going to be a lot of games. Obviously, a lot of games commentated, some not, but you will get to see your favorite team pretty much guaranteed at some point today, if not 2 or 3 times here on Curling Stadium.
Yeah, pretty awesome. This event's basically a mini slam event. Most of the top teams are here, and they were last year as well. It's just very good last event of the calendar year for these top teams. Try to get themselves into a Grand Slam position.
Might have got just enough curl out of that one.
Yeah, just enough. Mike most likely wanting to peel at this point. He is sitting 2, which is the interesting part. That's probably why he's thinking about it. But we talked about early in the stream how you always have to focus on what your problem stones are. Yes, you're sitting 2, but one's in the back 4 foot. That only helps Mike McEwen. And those center guards only help Mike McEwen. So
Could play this field and get all the yellows.
Yeah.
If you want to be optimistic, pessimistic, so say, yeah, you can also get the red, but we'll go with you can get all the yellows for now.
Definitely there. I don't think Tanner's convinced about the peel. I don't blame them. They are sitting 2.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard not to want to just say, let's just run with this. Come around that one that Mike just threw, even go to the top of the 4 foot, 3/4 buried. Now you're sitting 3, and McEwen might be playing the same shot.
This is just a good call. I think some teams, even at the top level of men's and women's play, would draw to the top 4 foot here, and then all of a sudden they're going to get forced or give up a steal.
Yeah.
The peel basically secures no stealing. No mistake from Tanner.
Yeah. There's too much broom swinging right now to figure it out. Not in a bad way, but broom swinging. Well, wait a minute till Mike settles in on one. But
it's because those hard lines are so light. It's so easy to whip around.
Yeah. Yeah, it is funny. I picked up one of my daughter's brooms not from that many years ago the other day, and I thought, holy cow, this thing feels heavy. When we bought them, they were like the lightest one on the market.
Yeah. Yeah, the hard lines that were, they're probably, 5, 6, 7 years old now.
Yeah.
But they were the lightest on the market when they came out, and they still are the lightest now. But
it's Cold Flash playing a yellow on red here. Trying to raise the yellow, take out the red stone, and hang some things around. He's going to get it, but just barely.
Yeah, another overcurl on the center line. Good sweeping by the Marsh brothers to hold that stone. But even with the bigger weight, that center line really is still getting some curl. Team Epping still sitting 1 in the back 4 foot.
John getting a little concerned with the numbers and location of some of these yellow rocks.
Well, I guarantee you John's still thinking about a blank.
Yeah. He's trying to hit this and roll, I think, to open side here. Talked about, that looks to me like that's what they would be playing, is to roll over into the probably piece of the 8 foot on the right-hand side as we look down at John Epping. Jake Horgan in the hack.
Yeah, not throwing a ton of weight at this, looking to just
I think he'll be going the other way. Can we get a little more of it than that? Might have been better off trying to keep that a little straighter and rub off the yellow, but I thought he was trying to get across the face of that, but I don't know for sure, but didn't come real close to that. Needed to hit a little more even just to stay in behind the corner guard, but opens it up for McEwen a little bit.
Might be the first 0 we've seen from Team Epping in this game.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Now Mike deciding what the best position for his rock is right now. Epping sitting 1 in the back 4 foot. Pretty hard to eliminate. You could throw peel and get rid of both the red and yellow, but then Team Epping has a chance to blank. And I think that's what Flash and Mike will be talking about now.
Yeah, you would definitely not want Epping to be. You're in a position here to hopefully, if you're McEwen, force Epping into 1. You'd hate to make it easier for him to blank.
Yeah, and I do think my opinion is the nose hit is probably the best call. You stay above the red, sit 2, not an easy double, and if Epping's team makes the double, you'll have a double right back.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier than just freezing. Looks like that's what they're doing as Colton settles in, looking for about a controlled weight hit right on the nose. Now they're going to change the call to the pick, or it was probably the call the entire time. Looks like it was called the entire time because that was a lot of weight for the nose.
Yeah.
And no easy doubles for Team Epping right now. They're going to have to make a couple. If Jake can make this hit and roll in front of the yellow, they might group the stones up to make a double to blank this end. But that needs to happen in the next 2 stones if you're a Team Epping fan.
Yeah, they're certainly spread out pretty good here. So Jake Horgan looking to hit it, maybe make a hit and a little roll and get lucky, and McEwen maybe picks the back one off himself on the way. Only 2 rocks apiece to come. Blank's looking much tougher. Scoring is not too bad. Shouldn't be a problem scoring, but a little wobble for what Jake Horgan as he came out, but he looks like he got her back on track. And
yeah, important to roll this.
Yeah.
Right in front of the other yellow. And perfect. Pretty much perfect.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah.
Good news for McEwen is that he'll probably just need to make 2 open hits, and we'll get out of this end with a force. So Mike looking to hit and roll to the back 8 foot here.
A little tiny bit in out on that. Marsh trying to get it to Ben. They're feeling good now. Stay. How far will it roll?
Pretty well thrown. That center line can be tricky.
Yeah. So John, not surprisingly here, is going to. Well, he's going to think about playing just a freeze on this.
Yeah, and I think that's why Mike's not overly thrilled that Rock needed to either roll all the way to the back 12 foot or not roll quite as far as it did, because
a
little bit of a pocket. If John Epping could put this right corner frozen, about half to 3/4 corner frozen, it's going to be impossible to eliminate.
Yeah.
Obviously a very difficult shot, but still there.
Yeah, I think he'll be very close on this. John Epping, in-turn freeze. Sweeper's on a little bit hard early here. Might have pulled the string a bit. Or no, they're just letting up a little, but need to get to it.
Normally when I see the second sweeper look up as much as Tanner is, it must be pretty close.
Yeah.
Just 3 feet light. 2 feet light.
Yeah, that's a definite partial miss for McEwen, for Epping rather. Obviously, it has to maneuver it around the back ones a little bit, but shouldn't be that hard for these guys to do that. Looking at
Yeah, he knows who he's playing. He knows how good a hitter Mike is, and
Yeah.
he kind of knew that he was probably going to get forced. Even if that freeze had to be made perfectly to have a chance, but now he had a practice draw and will have a draw to the full 8 foot for his 1 point once Mike eliminates this stone.
So if all goes well in this shot from McEwen, he'll hit the red on the outside, probably roll out, and probably take the yellow off the back, but that'll be good enough to force Epping to take his 1 point. Oh, he actually took it right through the hole.
Yeah.
So a good shot from McEwen.
Yeah, I mean Mike can throw about a 6-second peel better than most in the world, and when you have Colton Flash sweeping on your inside, you're never going to miss wide. Makes it perfectly through the hole.
Yeah, McEwen really playing with a lot of confidence now. You can see it, even though he has a half miss every now and then here and there, but he just playing with no fear and really very just looks like it. You can just tell when a guy looks like he's all the confidence in the world. And he certainly seems to be in that zone right now.
Yeah, I think it honestly, like, obviously he had a great prime of his career, winning a lot in Manitoba, but it took a couple of years of struggle and came to Ontario and had a rough season, but then ended off finishing fourth at the Brier, changing his team, gaining more confidence going into Saskatchewan. No mistake. As John doesn't make a single mistake either, gets his 1 point.
Yeah. So McEwen, or John Epping rather, will lead McEwen 3-2 after 5 ends of play here at RBC Showdown, or Dominion Securities Western Showdown, I should say, and we will be back to Swift Current just after this break.
So with the impact to my business and income, will this delay my retirement?
I know you're worried, Marshall, but based on the original plan we came up with, you're only about 6 months behind.
I thought it would be years, not months.
You should feel good. Remember, you've got a plan.
Thanks.
With change comes questions. See the impact of your money decisions before you make them with RBC Wealth Plan.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
So we go to the sixth end here in this A qualifier. Always a key end. Sixth end is always a key end. It seems like every game I do, I'm talking about sixth end being a big end, whether you're ahead or you're behind. It's just a real big end to score. Obviously, for Epping, if he were to score, he'd be in pretty much control of the last two ends. At least on paper in control. And if McEwen as long as McEwen scores here, then he controls the scoreboard a little bit for the last two ends himself. So it's an end that he would love to get to, but it's important to not be scored against or scored on here. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at stats in curling, hammer efficiency, steel efficiency, everyone focuses on the sixth end, and it's, I mean, no doubt about it, one of the most important ends of the game.
So Epping gets the center guard up. McEwen gets the corner guard up. Epping comes around. Not great position, but around a little bit. Now McEwen will opt to come around the corner guard with Daniel Marsh.
Yeah, deja vu of the fourth end.
Yeah.
Both teams coming in with the same strategy. In the fourth end, Team Epping forced Mike McEwen to a pretty tough hack waiter for one. Obviously, Mike made it, but McEwen looking to change their fortunes.
That's perfect. The Marsh brothers pretty darn solid on the front end, these two guys. It's not really necessary to say with the success of the team, because you're not going to have success anymore if your front end are not great players. But they're really, really solid. Seems like every game I've done of McEwen's this year, these guys have been really good. Epping now trying to figure out what to do. He's going to chase that around that corner.
Yeah, the last time they played this chase, it was edge on edge, and the guard was a little bit higher. This time, this is an inch buried.
Yeah.
It's a much harder shot.
Yeah, and that guard's not that long, so
basically
playing, come around that center guard again. Set up a stagger there.
That's probably what I would have played, but this has been Team Epping's strategy since the beginning. So staying to it, they got to get awfully close to that guard.
McMillan on the brush. They're well by. Well by. That might have been a little.
I think you knew they were by more than they thought they were by.
That's I was going to say, even at my ripe old age with the reader glasses on and everything. Here.
This gets awfully close to that guard, but that's how close to the guard you need it to be to make this shot. It makes it perfectly. Makes it look easy.
He does. It was easy. I called it at the hog line. Anyway, great shot.
Yeah, McEwen, like, where do you hide? That was an inch buried. And they could still pick it out.
Yeah. And stay even, yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Marsh now. Looking to remove the red in the forefoot.
Yeah, open up that center line early in this end. Obviously, they were chasing in the fourth, so they want to score there too, but they also know that they cannot give up a steal.
I was going to say he could make the double here. He came very, very close. Viewers as well, if you're watching on YouTube, on our channel on YouTube, Curling Stadium channel, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps us out a whole lot and assists us in bringing you curling every weekend from across the country.
Curling Zone launched their 24/7 channel that I have personally already watched. Get to rewatch games from this year and learn as much as possible. If you're a junior team, young men's and women's team, perfect channel to go and rewatch the best in the world play and learn new strategies and see how their sweeping techniques are and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Good shot there for Tanner Horgan. Did get a little bit of a inside roll.
That's the beauty of having an X skip as your second. You can throw the high hard one, but can still make the backline hack waiters look easy.
And Marsh with his second here in the sixth end.
Looking for a tap and roll under the center. Try to set up their 2 points.
You won't get that inside roll. But it's close enough that he'd be very difficult for Epping to roll inside as well.
Yeah, I think just with the rocks maybe not being quite as sharp as they were at the beginning of the event, things are getting a little bit straighter. Still some great curl, but maybe fooling the skips on green placements a little bit this morning. Not the easiest hit in the world. There are 2 catchers in the back 12.
Jay Corden will try to avoid those. Could take it right through the hole, I suppose.
I think that's what they're playing.
Yeah.
Much easier than trying to get to the inside of it.
Oh, yeah, I agree, yeah.
I'd say that looked like a little bit of outward motion. Trying to get this rock to curl.
Going to curl enough to get it through that hole, is it? No. Didn't roll it off. He rolled a little bit further. He would at least been number 2 at the back.
Yeah, needed to curl another 1.5 centimeters, really, and it would have been made. Now Team Epping has a chance to, Team McEwen has a chance to sit 2 with hammer. Just deciding which the best option is.
It's cold and flash now. We'll try to roll to the center behind the center guard.
Yeah, if you nose, Team Epping will just make the hit and roll behind the center. You're pretty much forced to make it.
This looks pretty close to a nose hit. Flash will hit it right on the nose and point back at something on the ice.
Yeah, it looks like he might have lost a piece of hair or something, whether it was off his broom or maybe the rock picked in his hand, but they're cleaning a path. Rock ran pretty good for a pick.
Yeah. Jay Court now will try to make that same roll, or the same roll that was called, at least, by McEwen.
It's good sportsmanship. Team Epping wasn't really cleaning the path until Flash turned around and mentioned it, so maybe some karma points to the Team McEwen side.
Still trying to hold this straight, so it must be curling a bit. He must be close to a roll. They roll a little too far.
Oh.
Overcurled
by.
That's so close to being perfect.
Yeah, 2 inches off of perfect. And now Mike still has a hack waiter to sit 2. The good news is the overroll was the tolerance, because now you're going to group those yellows up, and John might be able to have a chance at making a double after this rock stops. It was much better than nosing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. McEwen could make a perfect roll behind the corner here. Would make things a little tougher.
Yeah, then it's decision time for John Epping, whether he draws around the center guard or tries to chase.
Marsh trying to keep this straight. It's very close to that perfect roll. Not going to quite get there, I don't think, but a very nice shot just the same. Well, I guess he did.
Well, as we've seen with Tanner's shot, this rock is pretty much wide open.
Yeah.
If you're Team Epping, you know exactly where to put the line. Go to hack weight or try to roll in front of those rocks in the back 12 foot.
Yeah, it's enough. It's enough buried that at least it makes the that perfect roll back to the center a little bit of a challenge. You can't. You got to be a little bit careful with this. McEwen looking pretty good to have a chance at his 2 here, though.
Yeah, the last 2 ends has been a little bit of a momentum switch. Team Epping first 4 looked great, but Mike McEwen getting the force last end, and right now set up for his 2 points here in 6.
Bye. Get over here pretty good. I think that's about as good as you could possibly do on that shot.
Yeah, pretty much perfect.
Yeah.
Mike has a hack weight, hit a quarter of the rock. He might still be able to sit 2.
Yeah.
It is very difficult. It might be at the point where you have to draw.
Yeah, the question becomes here, if we're trying to get 2, what's our best opportunity to get it? Because you're going to have a shot to get your 1. You don't have to worry about that. So do you play the freeze down to this one? Do you come around the high guard just to the top of the 4 foot? What's your best option, I guess, is what they're throwing around here.
Yeah, I mean, John made a perfect hit and roll. You couldn't place that stone into a better spot. Very interesting to see what Mike decides. He's really focused on that red in the back 4 foot, not even really looking at the draw. It was just Kevin Marsh that suggested it.
Yeah. So quite a conversation here.
Yeah, unfortunately, don't have mics on the players, but the general consensus is, how do we score 2? And it looks like Mike's been convinced of the draw. I think that's basically what the whole team was trying to do.
Yeah. I think this is a good call, particularly on the in-turn side. And, you have the red one at the back if you go on the out-turn, but these guys don't play the same way we play, where we might, you maybe, but us now. Those guys that are past the prime with this stuff, and we'd be thinking, well, the red one's a nice catcher there. But if you're really trying to get 2, this is the side to go, because much harder for John Epping to remove it if it's 2/3 buried versus on the other side.
So. Yeah, it's really important to put this, just like you said, 2/3 buried, because we've obviously seen Team Epping make those backline hack waiters around guards all game. So that's why they talked about it so much. Just pretty precise shot. Just full 4 foot would be perfect.
Mike McEwen, his first of 2 here in the 6th end. Looking to get 2 here in the 6th. Golden flash on the inside on this. For now, she's swinging around a little bit.
Oh. Well, they know that the over curling is terrible, so they do not want to over curl it. Pretty good spot.
I think that's pretty good as well. So if you're Epping now, you could play the pick on that, get rid of it that way, but then you give McEwen a chance at something for 2, maybe on the other side, but I'm not so sure. It's pretty tough too on the other side. So without touching your own, you got to take it by and not even touch your own. So Epping's going to throw basically a peel weight shot here and just try to pick this out.
Yeah, even if you hit what you see, you're not going to jam, so pretty low risk. Guess if you pick the guard, you might leave a hit for 3. Very difficult one, though.
Yeah, I'd be thinking a quarter rock here would be what I'd be looking at. Quarter rock or even a little less if you're throwing it as hard as you might be going to throw it. So John always had that little swinger with his hat, with his delivery too. I always thought that'd throw him off, but it doesn't seem to. Is he going to get it? Oh, whoa, big miss for John Epping. Boy, couldn't have been much closer though.
Yeah, just that weight. Obviously, we know he can throw a ton of weight. It's just when you do throw that weight, it's not going to curl. So it's where you release it is where it's going to end up. And obviously, he just released it a centimeter off the rock, and that's how we create a flash. And now Mike McEwen has a tricky hack waiter, but if made perfectly, it is for 3. Unless he's just nosing it for 2.
Yeah. So obviously McEwen's strategy has paid off here. Whether he gets 2 or 3, the idea of playing that draw shot has worked out for him, and getting it to where he did is a big bonus. So McEwen now throwing a shot. It may be just a backline to hack shot for 3, or it might just be the same shot just for 2. But have to be careful. You definitely don't want to not get your 2 here. And he's not throwing it very hard, so should be just right to the nose, I think.
Yeah, they're not panicking. Looks like they're going for the nose.
So Mike McEwen with a skips deuce, as they say. Here in end number 6, we'll take a 4-3 lead to end 7 when we return after the break.
We asked Saskatchewan what they know about 5G.
More speed, more innovation.
It's going to make our lives a whole heck of a lot easier.
This is what 5G looks like.
Better, faster.
Sounds like one more G. Sounds pretty good.
I don't know what it means.
All you really need to know is the future of 5G is here and will continue improving through investments in network technology.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
So we're back with 2 ends to play in regulation time, as they say in hockey. It's McEwen with a 4-3 lead over John Epping. Epping with hammer. So Sam, what's your strategy if you're John Epping here?
Well, Epping, basically it's a 2 or blank situation, and so it's whatever the team's most comfortable with. They were drawing around the center guard, which leads me to believe they're going for the blank.
They did bump this yellow, but it didn't bump it off the center line, so it doesn't have to be removed. McEwen, on the other hand, discussing how hard he wants to go in attempting to force Epping to 201.
Yeah, you just saw your opposing team try to draw around your center guard, acknowledging that they probably want to blank. Even though you're up one, it is very tempting to throw the high center guard.
So it looks like they're going to go with the double center guards here, although he did tap the left side as we look at it here, the center line. I don't know if that was just a fluke or if that's where you put it. And I generally expect that teams want to line these up as close to straight as they can, but
I think he's trying to guard the red tap.
Yeah.
A little bit. Anyways, he's just thinking about it. Sweeper's calling this heavy.
Good shot by Daniel Marsh. Maybe a hair higher or a hair deeper than they thought, but that's pretty good spread between those two.
Yeah, well done. And this is where it's such an interesting strategy being up one without in 7, because you see a lot of teams give up 4 or 5 trying so hard to force in the 7th end, even at the best players, the best teams in the world. So very, very interesting. And the 7th end strategy is forever changing with this 5-rock rule, and we'll see how Epping plays it. They could want to pile 2 or 3 red ones in the center line here. Starts with this one. Needs to be full top 4 foot would be perfect.
Nice shot. Just took a glance at the other scores for a minute, and Brad Jacobs made the blank strategy work for him here and scored 4 in the 5th end, take a 4-1 lead in his game with Dropkin.
Yeah, well, similar to what we just talked about in the 7th, for them in the 5th is Dropkin probably trying really hard to force in, ended up giving up 4. It's just sometimes being too aggressive, even though you're winning 1-0, can bite you in the bum.
Yeah. So the freeze attempt here, McEwen. Pretty good. Lots of rocks in play now. If Epping's going to have any thoughts about blanking it, he's going to have to start with this shot.
Yeah, it's now or never if they want to blank. The triple peel is pretty close to being lined up.
Yeah.
I think John, realizing it's going to be hard to blank this end, might want to freeze. A little bit of an upset alert was Brent Pierce is up 8-5 over Reed Carruthers right now. The B semifinal.
Yeah. Nobody's scoring 1s in that game.
No.
1 doesn't. They took the 1 and put it away somewhere.
Yeah, football game over there right now.
It's almost as many points as the Rams and the Giants scored the other night.
Getting pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is basically it. If you draw with this shot, you're basically saying that you're going for 2 at least.
Yeah. And for any football fans out there, no, it wasn't the Giants, it was the Rams and the 49ers. So before you send me a notice for saying, well, what are you talking about?
Yeah, the American fans might be upset.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So Tanner Horgan now. We'll play the intern draw.
Yeah, put this full top 8 foot, biting the top 4 foot is perfect. Sweepers were heads down out of his hand.
John's going to go out and give him a hand. All that mixed doubles competitions he plays with Lisa Wiggle coming into play there. Getting some sweeping in.
Must be getting a little cold because John knows just as well as everybody that the third sweeper had 0%.
Yeah.
I think Team McEwen sees just enough of this red one that they can make the double.
If he does make the double, it will be interesting to see what Epping decides to do. Probably has one more block before he has to give up on the idea of a blank, possibly. Marsh. Kevin Marsh. In the slash double. Is it going to be a little thin, maybe? No, he makes it perfect. Great shot by Kevin Marsh. Removes all of the Epping stones. Have another look.
Yeah, just a great throw. Realizing that peel weight has not moved a centimeter this game, knowing it's basically all on the throw, makes it over top. Gets both reds out.
Well done.
Now John deciding that yellow in the top 8 foot is their problem stone right now, looking for a board hack weight hit and roll.
Just sneaks it by. Moves the yellow. I think. Maybe not. No, he doesn't quite get it out. Tanner Horgan's probably been just a few feet light on about 3 of those today. Getting away with them sometimes, but yeah, I know he wouldn't be able to throw a lot of weight there, but I'm sure John would have wanted enough to move it out of the rings.
Yeah, he was about 2 feet light there. He's been so good with those hack backline hack waiters. He has been eliminating them. That's the first time it has stopped in the rings, but big opportunity for McEwen now to set up a force. If you can roll behind those center guards, you could even set up a steal. Still early, but
this is close, but not going to roll too far, I don't think. Well, far enough to be effective.
I think it might be just far enough to make the inside roll pretty hard. It's probably still there, but difficult.
Yeah.
You can throw, back 12 weight. You'll be able to get to the inside and be shot rock.
So if Jake Horgan can throw the same weight that his brother just threw, he can possibly get that inside roll. John's really only looking for backline weight this time, so he doesn't really care if he gets it out. He's more concerned about getting the roll.
Yeah, if you can get at least half buried, makes Team McEwen's next shot that much harder.
He shot here for Jake. Oh, another little wobble.
Probably watching it skipper too many times.
Yeah. Tanner Horgan trying to hold this straight. I don't know if he'll be able to hold it long enough or not, but he's close. Really close now. Make it curl. A bit of roll. That, I'll tell you, getting that inside roll is tough. He didn't come by the guard by all that much, so a great effort for Jake Horgan. Definitely just in removing it, but he's so close to making that perfect. See it again.
Yeah, it's just great sweeping. I think out of his hand, most of us might have thought this was on the guard. Actually, too good of sweeping. Held it too straight. Got by the guard by a solid inch, which is obviously pretty good. But at this level, they needed to get by the guard by a millimeter to make that roll.
Mixing your systems together there, son.
I know. Still waking up.
Colton Flash now trying to duplicate that shot. He won't get the inside roll, so a little bit of a break for Epping maybe, although he may choose just to ignore that at this point. There's so many yellows around. He could come just right in on a draw.
Yeah, there won't be a blank, so it's decision time whether you want to make the hit and roll or the draw. The yellow's pretty usable, and that's probably why they're calling the hit.
Yeah.
But as we've seen, the hit and rolls have been pretty tough today.
Yeah. I'm sure if John Epping himself was throwing this, he'd be playing a draw, but
I'm pretty tempted to draw, just because if you make the hit and roll, you're only going to be full 8. Mike could still draw around everything and be shot stone.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be leaning to the draw as well, but
I'm also a much better drawer than I am a hitter, so it makes my life an easy decision where these guys can do both.
well, Jake's just coming off throwing a very similar, albeit 2 feet to the right, but very similar shot to what he just threw. Probably needs a little bit more weight just to be sure he can get that roll, but pretty much identical shot.
Yeah, big shot to set up your 2 or 3 points. Needs this to be fully buried behind those 3 yellow center guards.
He's going to be close. Going to be really close. Going to be perfect, I think. Doesn't roll too far. Very nice shot.
And this is where the hit, as we talked about, that it's just so high.
Yeah.
That Mike can just draw the top of the button, be fully buried.
Yeah, we've seen it. We saw Mike just a minute ago, or a few minutes ago, manufacture his deuce by making a very similar weight draw on his first shot.
Yeah, even if Mike draws the back 4 foot buried, he's going to shrink that scoring area quite a bit.
Yeah.
But Jake making a perfect hit and roll. Called a made. You were always going to leave the opposing team something.
Yeah, this is when you're the team that for as many games as you played here are very happy to see all the nice big curl and love to play with that, when you wish it would just be a little straighter for this shot if you're John Epping, because Mike could really completely bury this quite easily.
Yeah, he could even bury around the rock in the top 8 foot if it's just perfect. So
McEwen with the outturn draw, attempting to come around a center guard and a guard, the rock that might be used as a guard at the top of the 8 foot, and hopefully force John Epping into taking a single point here in end number 7.
Looking to keep the pressure on Team Epping. They've controlled the last 2 ends. This looks rather close.
It's very nice. Might be able to get to it with enough weight to move it out.
Yeah, you only need to tap it to the full back 8 foot, sit 1-2. You might not want to throw that much weight, because then you will probably slightly roll to the open and give Mike a hit and roll under.
Yeah.
You could also just freeze tap it about a foot and be shot stone, buried.
Yeah.
You need to make sure you have a shot for 2. Getting forced is obviously not ideal here.
No, I think the outturn freeze tap, as you called it, would be the shot here. I don't know. I just be a little worried about trying to throw enough weight to make it and not get enough curl, as you said, and be forced to one anyway. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just sort of tap this a little bit and hope to have a shot at 2 on my next shot.
Yeah, they're looking at this red double tap right now, but it's definitely a shot I would think maybe you would try on your last. Is this red, yellow tap?
If he thinks he could definitely get the yellow out, like out into, as you say, like the very back of the 8 foot or even into the 12 foot, if you think you could do that, then that would definitely be the shot. You'd set up your deuce, potential deuce. Just don't know if you can do that. It looks like he's taking ice for maybe just draw or heavy draw at most.
Yeah. Team Epping's been taking the least amount of ice I've seen across all weekend long.
Yeah.
And obviously making a ton of shots, so they've been grooming themselves properly. Yeah, you need to max weight you can throw here is back line.
Yeah.
One of those taps that it's the misses freeze.
Needs to curl a bunch. Got to go really hard now. Will he get it out far enough? He bumps and gets it back to not quite. Oh, so close.
Yeah, I think they could have got on that a little bit sooner for curl.
Yeah.
And if they hit that, obviously 2 centimeters thicker, they would be sitting 2 right now.
Yeah, I think you did right. Yeah, a little bit more for curl. You get a little tiny bit more weight out of it because you're hitting a little bit more of the rock as well. You didn't need much more. You still would have probably left because you weren't going to curl so much, but probably would have left a hit and roll for McEwen. But, he now has a hit and roll and be sitting 2, so you might as well have moved it out.
Big opportunity for Mike here to hit and roll and sit 2 and put a ton of pressure on Team Epping.
Yeah.
They don't want to set up the double run for 2 is basically what they're talking about right now.
Yeah. Could roll a little bit further than that, which would make that run a little bit tougher. If you roll just to the other side of the button, or just roll a half a rock, make it really tough to remove it. So we found all weekend without the use of clocks, which most bonspiels don't have clocks. So let's be reasonable here. It's tough to get enough volunteers to do that, game in, game out. But it's these games have taken quite a while. We're up over 2 hours now, and it's still got an end to play. Maybe 2. We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely. If they were on clocks, they would be running a little bit close on time. They probably would still have timeouts and be fine. But a qualifier final and a lot of angles to talk about and where they want to roll this.
So what did they decide? Did you see, Sam? I don't know sure exactly where they want to roll this to, but
yeah, it's interesting. Most people would just roll to the button, but if you roll on the other side of center line, you leave the run double for 2. Now, I know that's a hard shot, but Mike respecting John Epping's ability to hit, knowing it's very capable of making the run double. So looking to just flop about a rock over.
Marsh carving this one over big time. Well, it's interesting. With how much it curls, there's an awful good chance that John might be able to get enough of that front rock to touch that back one on the way by and score 2.
The board weight double seems to be there. The only other shot is the run back, like super thin double for 2, and that's just really, really hard. They're talking about it, so maybe John not convinced the board weight double is there.
That run double's super hard though.
Yeah.
It's like you don't even know how it'd be so hard to call it. I think this shot here myself, but
pretty much forced to play this shot, yeah.
Yeah.
Make it for 2, great. Score your 1, great. Even if you give up 1, not the end of the world. Still have hammered down 2. So this is absolutely the safer shot.
You have to get by the guard for sure. I know you need to go by tight to get the double, but you can't you can't not get past that guard then.
Yeah, I mean, they've been pretty good at maneuvering with these board waiters, so it should be close as we see the last rock here in the 7th.
In the neighborhood. Oh, a jam. Been unlucky for John Epping. McEwen will steal one here in 7 and take a 5-3 lead to the 8th end of this A qualifier in Swift Current at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. We'll be back after the break.
Stronger agronomics, better returns, greater peace of mind from pre-seed to post-harvest. You can count on the Victory Canola program to keep you.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Sasktel Be Kind Online wants to stop cyberbullying. Want in on the action? We award up to $1,000 for youth initiatives that help spread kindness and prevent bullying. What great idea do you have to help stop bullying? Sasktel can help. Go to BeKindOnline.com and apply for a grant today. Together, we can make a difference.
So here we go in the 8th end. One rock plate already. McEwen's thrown one. Right on the button, you'll see it there. John Epping throwing the corner guard. A little long, I think, that corner guard, but
Yeah, he called a high corner. They're looking to do the double corner on the same side. It's pretty much just team preference and whether you like two corners on the same side or split the corners. Statistically speaking, the corners on the same side has a slight advantage of scoring multiple points, but we're talking 1-2%, I believe.
yeah, interesting. I hadn't seen anything on numbers for it, so I think down for some reason. I don't know. I haven't got a firm opinion on what I think of these yet, but I think down one, it feels like it would be a better idea because you only just need one side of the rings to draw to at the end if you do it right. But since you're going to need 2 points anyway, I don't know. Anyway, it'll be a debate for a little while until teams sort it out. I've seen quite a bit of both actually, and it's a good result there. Good shot from McMillan. Probably wanted a little more curl than that, but
yeah, sweepers couldn't couldn't carve it because it was max weight.
Yeah.
Really tempting to throw a center guard. I know you're up 2, but your yellows are in pretty much perfect positions.
Yeah.
I know there's been a lot of talk of choking off corner guards. Put this like a quarter buried in the top 12. And strategy-wise, you see that a lot more at the tier 1 level than you do in any other level in curling, but I love the center guard.
Yeah. So you're going to get your choice here. I think. Here we go.
Yeah. Put the broom down, Mike. Make me right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're basically forcing Team Epping that they're going to have to make some runbacks down 2 in the 8th if you make this guard a couple of times. Unfortunately, under curls there and shows the wrong side of the rock.
Yeah, left a little out turn, hit and flop behind the corner.
That is the danger of the center guard, obviously. Tolerance would have been to over curl other than under curl, but I play 100% behind the glass.
Yeah.
Definitely advantage Team Epping here. If Tanner can make this board weight hit and roll under the corners, it certainly brings at least 2 into play.
Tanner working with this throw. And might not get by the high one. It will just sneak it by. Not going to roll behind the corner, but fortunate to get that by at all.
Yeah, great sweeping from Jake Horgan. Another light hacked board waiter by Tanner.
Yeah, he just underthrown, I think, all day long. It just feels that way. I know, you don't want to be throwing rocks too heavy, but especially when you have good sweepers, but just needs a little more on 3 or 4 shots now.
Yeah, I mean, when you're down to throwing that light weight, it's obviously super important to keep your rock in play. That's why they didn't call like a control weight hit and roll. And he left his rock in a pretty good spot. I think Mike could flip to the inside and sit 3 buried, but it's pretty risky. Could jam.
Ever thinking about running the yellow into it? That's what Flash is looking at, yeah.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, and if you peel the center, it's okay. But that center guard is helping you. It is guarding your 2-shot stones.
Yeah, you'd almost be saying, well, look, I'm willing to give you your 2 if I run that center guard and then come around the corner if you want and go from there, and probably going to give up a deuce. But
as a skip, when I'm in these long conversations, I always want to focus on what my problem stone is and then try to solve the problem from there. Right now, it's obviously the red in the top 8 foot. So how do I eliminate it?
I thank everybody for watching today. We have a big crowd on the channel having a look at this game, and an early Sunday morning for many of you. So we appreciate your taking the time out of your day to watch curling here on Curling Stadium. We will be with you all day long, including all of the women's semifinals and finals as well.
Team McEwen deciding on the thin double. Realizing that there is a 3 in play right now. And obviously, Team McEwen, they don't love giving up 2, but they certainly take that over losing the game. So it's probably why they're playing this shot. Trying the thin double, try to get rid of that red corner guard that's just in front of the rings as well.
So Kevin Marsh, throwing the out turn, peel weight. Good shot.
Perfect shot. Not sure if they called it to bring the yellow back into the rings like this. But here, sliding a little bit narrow, feeding it out to back to the broom, letting one of the best sweepers in the world hold it straight, makes the double peel and rolls to a center 12-foot spot.
Yeah, very interesting call. I don't know if I would have even thought of doing that, to be honest.
Some of us don't have that hitting ability.
Well, that's the other part of it. Yeah. Here with my team throwing that 10.5 second peel is not going to really do a lot for me on those shots like that. So,
still a good chance for Team Epping. They have a corner guard. They have a red in the rings. It's step 1 of taking at least 2.
Yeah.
Looking to just off nose tap this rock. Maybe hit half of it and try to roll behind the corner.
Has he got enough weight? I think so.
There's more line than weight. Doesn't seem like a terrible outcome.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that's too bad.
I think the double is pretty hard. It does hit that back yellow. If you make it perfect, obviously you can eliminate both, but...
Flash will want to play the double. He always does that with a very explosive sort of look. He doesn't tap the rock hard, but he gets both arms going and everything. He throws it hard so he doesn't have to make up for it here.
Animated. When you can throw it as hard as Flash, as full as hard as Colton, you have a good chance. This does jam a lot, but make it perfect. You can get rid of both reds, and I wouldn't say win the game, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
It's Colton Flash playing a run back double here. That's just a straight double, I guess, not really a run back. It's going to be a little thin, but whoa.
I think that's how they were playing it.
Yeah.
Where he put the broom, it looked like that's how they're playing it.
I'll have another look at it.
Yeah, Colton obviously can throw a 6-second peel just as good as anyone else in the world. Hit it anywhere on the outside of the red, and it was always going to come back to the red on the 4-foot. Gets all of them.
Yeah, I think it was... I agree with you. I think that's definitely what they're playing. Probably a little tiny bit of good fortune, maybe, in that the back one went completely out on its own, didn't jam at all. But so Epping will have to probably use the corner guard here.
Yeah, that's base. It does feel like the game-winning shot right there. It's a very high corner guard. Team Epping is going to need a 0 out of the Mike McEwen camp if they're going to score 2. Well, as we said earlier, our other A final is this afternoon. Team Clyder playing Team Dunstone this afternoon. Will be a great game. We obviously have our women's quarters coming up as well as they start their playoffs this Sunday. The men's playoffs start on Monday.
Is he going to get there? Needs to get there. And he will. Not by a lot, but it's there.
Yeah, good sweeping just to get that into the rings, but it is almost half open. If that's 2 feet deeper, that's pretty much perfect.
Cold Flash trying to pick the red out. Shouldn't have too much trouble doing so. It's working it over here. This team Epping running out of rocks here. But an opportunity. Yeah, I was just going to say an opportunity here to freeze into that pocket.
Well, Colton taking their hopes of tying this game away and on his first shot, giving them a chance on the second. Makes the hit, but rolls just to the pretty much the worst place he could have rolled to.
Jake Horgan, if you're ever going to make a perfect freeze, this is the time to make it. Little in-out motion there, but should probably get that back.
I think for the most part, that's what Team Epping's been doing all game. That they've taken much less ice compared to McEwen. It's just what they've decided to throw, and Jake makes a perfect shot and their second.
That is absolutely perfect. Those rocks don't all look the same size.
No.
I'm sure they are, but the one that's biting the button looks smaller for some reason. I don't think it's my eyes. Reminds me of way back in the 80s, we played against the Scots outdoors in Ottawa on the lake and on the bay or whatever it was, and they brought stones with them, and they were all different sizes. They were just different sizes, different weights, and flat bottoms, and they would go well. Our curling stones didn't work so good out there. Anyway, they just dug in. We had to throw it so hard. It was crazy, but it was fun.
Yeah, decision time. It's going to take 2 stones to eliminate that red rock now. So do they try and play the hit and then try to make a double on Mike's last, or do they just throw a center guard? I don't even think they talked about the center guard.
No, I agree. The teams at this level seem to almost never talk about playing a center guard in this situation, and they'd be so good at throwing guards that you'd feel like it would be entered into the conversation a little bit more, but rarely do. So McEwen
looking for a hack weight double tap. It looks like taking quite a bit of ice.
Yeah, it is a lot of ice. Yeah. Maybe looking as much to spread his rocks around as to create anything else, possibly.
Looks pretty close.
Yeah.
Ooh. I think he was trying to guard his current shot rock too.
Yeah.
Which does cover it by a quarter of the stone. If we get an overhead, we'll be able to see what exactly John Epping has.
Yeah.
We do have our first final. Daniel Casper stays alive in this event, beating Owen Parcell. That was a C event game. And Brent Pierce upsets Reed Carruthers in a B semi. Wins 9-5.
So your overhead look there, you can see that what Epping is facing.
Yeah, you have 2 choices really. You could freeze and try to bring 3 into play, or hit and roll and basically secure your 2 points. And I think the hit's the call, because if you freeze, you could lose the game pretty quickly.
Can't roll too far, but the good thing for John is I don't think you have to roll too far before there's no way for McEwen to do much with it.
McEwen can't really eliminate that red that's in between the two yellows right now anyways. But yeah, he's going to want to stay in the 4-foot here.
Tanner Horgan on this one right away. There, he's just backed off a little bit now. Now they're actually trying to make it curl, and they'll try to make it go straight, back and forth. They'll eventually make it pretty good.
Yeah, they would have liked that to roll to the full 4-foot on the other side, so this hit and roll isn't as easy. But still a great shot. It's always nice when you're off and on straight and curl. It means it's close.
McEwen trying to figure out if there's a way that he can either eliminate both stones, which doesn't appear there is, or if there's a way he can make this shot and make it very, very difficult for Epping to get to.
Yeah, the only way you can get rid of both reds is a super thin slash on the red in the top 4. Yeah. But you jam so often and then you lose because it's a travel 4-foot for 3. So
yeah, you would never want to be doing something quite as crazy as that.
No.
Take your chances at an extra end, even it'd be fine.
Yeah, even just off nose with this shot, and you at least force an extra. The perfect roll would be just biting the edge of the button on the other side of the center line.
Yeah, it would be very, very tough for John Epping to do something with it. So McEwen, with his final rock here in 8, with a chance to maybe solidify a win, or at the very least get to an extra end.
Yep, pretty finessey shot. Anything but just off nose. If you jam this, 3's in play.
He's going to get by it. He's okay that way. Well, he's left John Epping with a heck of a tough shot, but a shot for his 2.
Yeah, John, I mean, he gets to throw the same way he just did, which is nice, but yeah, he only has about half a rock. Needs to be about that hack weight, backline hack weight, tap this rock to the back 8-foot, stay in the 4-foot for his 2 points.
Jake Horgan cleaning up in the house there, but not a real serious effort. He's cleaning out where the rocks gets to there. It's already out of play. So John Epping, final rock, 8th end for the tie. Challenging shot. And it's on its way. Nobody doing anything now. McMillan now being asked to start to try to move this rock over. It's going to be very, very close. Will he sneak it by the top one? And then stay. You've got to stay. You've got to stay in the 4-foot. Oh, a heck of a shot by John Epping.
No mistake.
Yeah, that was really nice, really. That was not easy. You see a third of the stone. You'll see it here.
Yeah, just a great team shot, carving early, perfect line call, both sweepers ready to sweep, and obviously John throwing the perfect weight to make the shot, to force the extra end.
Yeah, that you got to throw that exact weight. So great shot. We have a tie game. We'll go to an extra end when we return from the break.
invented in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
So we're back for the extra end here at the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown, brought to you on Curling Stadium in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. A tremendous shot by John Epping there, Sam, to tie this one up.
Yeah, I mean, just a perfect team shot. If you're, as we see the replay, if you're teaching your junior, young men's and women's teams, this is the exact shot you should be showing them. Both sweepers ready to sweep, head down, carving early, holding straight at the end, perfect weight by the skip to make the hit and stay in the forefoot for their 2 points to force the extra.
So Epping now will not have hammer in this extra end, but McEwen will. John, at this point, happy to get to the extra end. It was looking very tough there for a while.
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit of a... Oh, Mike just coming back. I wasn't sure if he was grabbing the measuring tape to see if that is on the center line or not. They do use...
What do
a
they
device. It's basically like a protractor.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Protractor. Holy cow. Are you an engineer or trying to be an engineer? That's a word I haven't heard for a long time. Anyway.
Since high school math.
Yeah. For me. Yeah.
But both teams agreeing that this isn't on the center line, so
that's a big miss.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of another half an inch or whatever.
Yeah, you don't want to give these leads an opportunity to make the tick when they... The reason why we made the no-tick rules because they were so good at it.
Yeah. The only thing going for you now is they don't play it very often anymore. So it's even when it's not quite on the center line, they don't play it that often. So you might get lucky.
Yeah, John will be keeping an eye on this, seeing where he needs to sweep it. Mike deciding to cross the face. Oh, no, trying to hit it thin.
I don't think it'll go out.
No.
No.
Perfect.
As I say, that's the rocks are just not quite as lively here as they are some places. So everything else about it's perfect, though. I trade that for the ice conditions that we have, so it's good.
Yeah, your main goal with this tick shot is to throw that backline hack weight, hit about a quarter of it, and get it off the center line. That's exactly what Daniel does.
Yeah. Good news is 5 rock rule. You get one more shot at getting it on the center line where it can't be moved.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people when the tick rule came into play thought that the leads were they're getting rid of the lead's favorite shot or their hardest shot, and now the draws to staying on the center line is their hardest shot, but it can be difficult, especially on curly ice. Doesn't make a mistake that time.
Yeah.
Game-saving shot. I know it's a lead stone, but that had to be on the center line. You can't give Daniel another tick opportunity to basically win the game.
So very good shot by Daniel Marsh there. John Epping going around that. Are you a bit surprised at all, Sam? You might not throw another center guard up there?
That yellow is in such a good spot. It's very difficult to not do something, whether it's freezing on it or drawing all the way around everything. After the one tick is made, you're basically hoping to make a good one top button here and guarding for your life the rest of the end. So I'm not entirely surprised, to answer your question.
No, that's fine. That's good. You sneak it by the back one. They will. Not shot, but
Mike's tapped on the red.
It might be shot. McEwen can now peel though, so that'll be what's upcoming.
Yeah, nothing really to talk about. Just which way Kevin wants to throw his peel. Yeah, no secret for the next 4 or 5 shots are going to be guards and peels. Team Epping probably won't be going into corner freeze or anything like that until skips first. Maybe Vice's last. You try a hitting team like McEwen, you're trying to give them the least amount of opportunity to open up that center line.
Tanner Horgan, the out-turn guard.
Yeah, a little bit of rinse repeat action for the rest of the next 4 stones. Like I said before, no secret. Eventually, John will have to make some sort of play in the middle. Unless they're shot rock, they could guard the whole way, but it looks awfully close.
Yeah, I think I feel that way too. It looks pretty close to me. You can see it there again. Thanks, Connor. It's I'm not sure. Does look a little bit like it might be red now, though. First stopped, I didn't think it was, but
we do have another final. Brad Jacobs beats Corey Dropkin 5-3 and advances to the B final later today.
Yeah, if you're wondering where the loser of this game goes, they actually get the luck of the draw and drop down into Division B and play Brad Gushu in a qualifying game in the B side. So a little more incentive to win. Of course, when you get down to this point now, you're down into all the very best teams, almost no matter which division you're in.
Yeah, it does. An event like this, it's Grand Slam level event. Some of the best teams in the world here. You're not going to have a single easy game. So obviously, win this A final, you get basically 24 hours off to rest and go to bed early.
Oops. So the appeal happens again, and we'll do it all over.
Yeah, this is what I said. It's either going to be Vice's last or Skip's first where they go in.
So if it stays this way, Sam, what are you thinking? If you get to John Lepping's last shot, and if he thinks he's shot, are you throwing the straight guard, or you're going to try to corner freeze the one at the top?
I think you try and corner freeze. Obviously, it's a pretty difficult shot, but if you line it up, makes Mike McEwen not have a tap. The issue is no matter where you line up the corner freeze, all McEwen has to do is tap that rock like 2 centimeters, and they're going to be shot. So that's why I expect Epping on his first to do some sort of either hit and roll or corner freeze, not on his last. I don't think he's going to wait till his last one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because you're right. It's it's fine to throw a corner freeze, but when you're throwing a corner freeze and you can't move the rock even a half an inch, that makes it tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So appeal for flash.
Yeah, and though we think this game is running slow, they're playing their extra as fast as some teams are finishing their 8th end. So they were the fastest game on the sheet.
Yeah, like you say, that initial rock just not being quite on the center line has changed changed everything here, because it would have been some much more difficult calls and challenging calls than if there had been two guards to deal with out there that were spaced apart.
So the guard to me is saying that Epping knows he shot rock. So
Yeah.
it must not be that close since he's playing the guard.
Jake's going to have one more look.
Yeah, I think Tanner realizes that Tanner knows that if they aren't shot or definitely shot, then they need to make a play on that yellow.
Yeah.
So throwing the guard, basically saying you are shot rock. So that's why it's so important to side.
Yeah.
And maybe the team not
John
trusting
says,
the
Jake's got a lot
Jake's
younger
eyes.
eyes than me. I better have one more look.
Yeah, Jake's younger, but I don't think his eyesight's awesome. So he probably wants everyone to look at it. It's a pretty important spot, obviously. If you're throwing the guard, you need to be shot here. So if you're not, you need to do something with this yellow. Just like we talked about, just like I talked about pretty much all end.
Well, I think, if you do corner freeze it and McEwen's probably going to run it. I don't know if he's just going to tap it. He might just try to tap and guard his own rock, but I just feel like he'll play the double and let John go ahead and try to guard that up and then draw the 4-foot for the win. I don't think he'll play a little gentle touch McEwen, and this is now. Unless it's a peel and just touch mine on the way by kind of stuff, so I'm shot rock now instead of not being shot rock. Looks like
no idea what they decided. They didn't really tap where they wanted to go.
The last tap I saw was by one of the front end guys and tapped the center line as if it's going to be a guard. So I'm going to predict that it's going to be the guard.
Yeah, as we do have another final, Kevin Cooey beats Dustin Kaltoff in the B semifinal, 6-4. As Mike decides to throw the center guard, he threw that fast like he was on the clock. That was a fast kick.
You'd like this not to be crazy long, but more importantly, you got to get the line right. The line's pretty good.
Yeah, and Mike not even blinking. He knows that his hardest shot right now is to tap that yellow like 2 centimeters for the win. So, pretty easy decision, just peel.
Yeah, and really, John throws the guard back up, and Mike's got full 4-foot to draw to on.
Yeah, you can draw or you can tap that yellow an inch and win the game. So, this is where Team Epping will have probably a longer discussion on where they want to put their last rock.
Mike McEwen with a peel on his second last shot in this end, which will be the last end. We did have a game earlier this year that went 2 extra ends, actually, Dropkin and Gushu. Dropkin chose to hit on his last shot in the 9th and rolled out. And it went to a second extra end, but that's the only time I've seen it in a long time.
Yeah, I did it at Junior Nationals in 2019. We had a 12-end game.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the other team hit and rolled out in the 11th, and then we stole in the 12th. So it doesn't happen very often. Now, John trying to play the same guard, but much tighter, trying to put it just in front of the rings to where you're making the tap on the yellow very difficult. Would be the perfect spot for this shot.
So you basically end up forcing the full draw to the 4-foot versus just draw and touch or draw the 4-foot. You don't have a plan B sort of thing.
Yep. This rock could even be top 12. That's as deep as you want it to. So there's quite a bit out there. It needs to finish.
Yeah, it's going to curl. Still curl a little bit more. Not bad. it was always going to be tough to make it really, really, really good.
Pretty good depth. Like that's exactly like full 12 foot's perfect. It just needed to be 2 inches to the towards the center line more.
Yeah.
Not an easy shot for the win, but just needs to touch that yellow a couple of centimeters and will be for the win.
So Mike McEwen with a spot in the playoffs on the line here will look to make this last shot just a little, almost a rub of his own here to score a single point and move on to Monday's playoff round. Played most of the end going the other way, so they haven't seen this in a bit, but looking for basically just T-line weight.
Yeah, T-line back 4 is perfect amount of weight, and as a skip, you're basically throwing T-line and let your sweepers make the shot for you.
You got cold flash on the inside. You certainly have somebody there that can hold it for you if you need to hold it out there. Both guys going now. Starting to curl hard. Starting to curl really hard. Will he get by the red? Looks pretty good. Just a little touch. And just for bonus, probably got 2.
Yeah, it does look pretty close for 2. But a great game by Mike McEwen. John Epping controlling the game early as Flash guides this rock into the yellow. As we see the instant replay. Perfect sweeping, good team shot, great line call. Almost held it 2 straight, but
perfect. Mike McEwen continues to be on fire here in 2024. So we thank you all for joining us this morning for extra bonus coverage of our 8 qualifier. And be sure to join us the rest of the day here on Curling Stadium as we have full coverage all day long of the RBC Dominion Securities Western Showdown. So on behalf of my colleague Sam Steep and for Connor Sims in production, who did an amazingly great job today, we will say goodbye for now and see you later on.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.